That was me, Wacky.
Okay.
Afternoon. I must stop looking at that.
He keeps looking at this laptop down here that you can't see.
Yeah. Look at you, looking to eye eyes.
Yeah. Well, good afternoon and welcome to Different Blokes again. It's me, Matt, and I'm here with Mick. I'm not quite sure what this discussion is going to be about. So go on, Mick, enlighten me.
We need more feedback from you. So we're struggling on different topics. So we're going to branch about all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And so today I thought we'd talk about ghosts and UFOs.
Ghosts and UFOs.
Ghosts and UFOs.
Okay.
Do you believe in it? Do you believe in ghosts or UFOs?
Ghosts, no. UFOs, yeah.
So ghosts, no. UFOs, yes.
Yeah.
What about mediums? When they tell you your future?
I think we were talking a load of beep. I can't really say that
I
word.
can tell you, many years ago, I worked in the entertainment business. We were waiting for a clairvoyant to turn up, and she didn't turn up. We had about 150 people waiting for her, and they said, "Mick, go and ring her." So I rang her. I said, "Excuse me, love, we've got 150 people waiting for you here. Are you turning up?" She said, "Oh no, I've got a cold." And I went, "Oh right, okay." So I had to go back and say, "I'm terribly sorry, everybody, but the young lady isn't going to be turning up tonight." Now I thought to myself, well, that's a bit wrong, isn't it? Because if she's clairvoyant, she should have known that she was going to get a cold.
Well, yeah, I mean,
why take the booking?
Well, I've always. Did you see the Derren Brown episodes a while ago where he was disputing it? I love Derren Brown. Absolutely love Derren Brown.
Yeah.
So not that we need to plug him, but
there's somebody in here whose mother's got a brother called David.
Yeah, and he'd just annihilate them, wouldn't he? And he actually pretended to be one. So for me, no. UFOs, oh yeah, I would say yes.
Right, okay, I'll open up with my experiences here. Okay, UFOs, I've actually seen a couple of UFOs.
Well, have you seen some of the people walking around?
Right, now, the first time I saw one, the first time I've heard of one was my grandmother. Sadly passed away many years ago, but she was telling me it must have been World War II. In Northumberland, and this is probably the Official Secret Act or something like that. I don't know, but in World War II, in a place called Red Row, East Cheltenham, this was about an hour up from Newcastle. She said that everybody in the middle of the night was woken up, and they all went down to the schoolyard. This was not one or two people. This was hundreds of people in the village. Big terrace pit houses were. Everyone came out. They surrounded the schoolyard, and my granny said to me, there were bonny lights, about 4 foot off the feet, 4 foot off the ground, spinning round with hundreds of people, witnesses. So I'm not talking about one or two.
Okay.
This is during the war, and then it literally stopped there for about 5 or 6 minutes, then shot up in the sky and gone. Right, and I went, wow. You know. Now the same village, my auntie was telling us. End of World War One, this was, and one of the Zeppelins was shot down. I know it's sad, and I shouldn't be laughing, but you'll see why I'm chuckling. One of the Zeppelins was shot down in World War One and crashed into my auntie's field. But the surviving Germans on the Zeppelin got off and had to surrender to the local enforcement. So in the morning, apparently it was very early morning. They walked up to the village with all the machine guns and the pointy hat ones, and this columnist airmen and soldiers came marching up to this Bobby policeman in the policeman's house, and there's him putting his braces on, and all these guys with machine guns and rifles came walking through the door. "Hello, you come to surrender," and he's like that. "What? Yeah, what? Eh? Oh, you can get out there." You know, it must have been hysterical to watch, but yeah, But you wouldn't have known a UFO from a UFO. You wouldn't have known a Zeppelin from a UFO.
Yeah, so you're trying to call the Germans UFOs? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
He's offending the Germans already. I mean, come on, Mick.
No, what I'm saying is, in World War II, they were called Foo Fighters. So this you can check that up. Anyone wants to check it up? They were called Foo Fighters, and a lot of UFOs were recorded in World War II by pilots. They were told, okay, you've seen Foo Fighter, you're not supposed to say anything else now. And that's carried on to this day, where if you go on YouTube, television, anything, there's hundreds and thousands of UFOs spotted all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think, and the Americans, they said we broached it on the subject a bit ago, but the American governors and everything like that said, yeah, okay, well, we know that they're openly saying, yeah, they exist, but they don't know if they're a danger or not. So from the UFO side, I think that's a definite yes. Ghosts, I don't know. Again, I've been to some of the most haunted places in the United Kingdom. Have I seen anything? Once. I saw something I couldn't explain. However, in the same place, this was in Lamprey Palace in St David's, Pembrokeshire. A beautiful place. Go and visit if you can. My friend was opposite the fire at night. We were camping there doing displays, and at night we sat there, and I'm sure she'll tell you the exact same thing. And she went, "What is this?" She just stopped talking to me mid-sentence, and you could see something had gone off. And I went, "What just happened there?" And I asked her, I said, "What just happened there?" And she went, "Oh," she says, "you wouldn't believe me." I says, "Try me, tell me what happened." She says, "Now we know our periods of dress and fashion and costumes, so." We're quite good if you want us to say what period is that from and everything like that, identifications. And she said a man in 16th century clothes walked through the fire and walked straight through me. And she's not the girl to actually make that up. She's not that sort of girl who would make that up. There was some, admittedly we had a drink, but we weren't even drunk. It was very early beginning of the night. And I was like that, and I said, "Well, what period?" She said, so we described exactly what we were and everything like that. So we knew what period it was. We knew there was people living there at that point. So that was a true event that happened. I didn't see anything. I saw an apparition of just a white haze in the same place 2 days later. But every time I looked at it, it wasn't there. So I can't say definitely I've seen a ghost or whatever. But something was going on, and I don't know what. Can't explain it. So I'm open. I'm open on that one.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no.
I think for ghosts, I'm personally, I'll say no. I just don't see it. I've not seen anything. Again, I'm a big believer in what I've seen. I've never been given any reason to believe it.
Now, however, not 5 minutes ago,
go on.
Matt turned around to me and says, "Oh, I'm all chilly." Did you not?
Yeah, that can be explained though.
But
yeah, that can be explained.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, there might be something in it. There might not be.
No.
Not 3 stories up on a new build.
No, definitely not. No, I just changed my top and I got a bit chilly. End of. But no, UFOs. I'm going to take a totally different stance to you, as in your reasoning. Not because I agree. I think there are UFOs,
right.
But my reasoning. I'm going to take away everything you said and ignore it because I don't think I need what you said to make my own mind up. And I'm going to go back to Charles Darwin. Right, evolution. Okay. If you don't know, evolution and inheritance. He was the one who went travelling on the ships with the British Empire, as it was at the time, and he went around the Galapagos and he studied creatures, fossils, and he was a person who really plugged that basically creatures aren't or what they basically evolved through time, right? Because the Bible at the time and the churches said God created all creatures as they are, and he was the first one, and he got absolutely slated at first for it. Because he said, no, actually, they've not. They've evolved. So if we look at the fox, for example, or the moth, there's many different types, but they all came from one, and they've all evolved through time.
Right, you're talking about the theory of evolution.
Right. Okay. Now, I'm going to just let me see where the link is here. Okay. So my link is that people of the time, because of what they were told and what they were taught, disbelieved him. And he was correct. And he's true. Now, right. People nowadays, this is where my link is.
Let me just throw a quick one in there just so you get context here.
Yeah, go on.
Because people are going to go, that's not true. Now, the theory of evolution is called a theory of evolution because the church disagreed with it. Because it would dismiss the God and everything like that.
Yep.
That's why it's classed as a theory. So just before anyone jumps in and tells that, we are aware of that.
Yeah, however, the church has since acknowledged it and said, actually, yeah, you're right. But all creatures began with God, and they have changed their wording. So
anyway,
but it was the teachings at the time, and fair play on the church with that one. They realised, they listened to everything, and they actually did take it on. But my context comes here. I think we're coming into that period now of where we're starting to accept it. If we go back before, certainly pre-internet days, UFOs were just a pipe dream, and certainly growing up, people didn't really believe it. Yeah, they saw little lights. It was the odd program on TV and things like that. Okay. And you might have had a Charles Darwin come in at that point and say, there is, and everybody looks at him and goes, oh, it's crazy, it's madness. But now we're coming through, and we're coming to that point where people are starting to accept it. But for me, again, it comes to the point of, you've got, how can you personally think we're in this big galaxy? We don't even know how many planets there are, but how can you possibly think we're the only living thing?
Yeah, many people have said that. Yes, if you think we're the only planet to sustain life on it, a bit of delusion there. Sorry to crush your little thing.
But that's
actually, to be quite honest, if you do believe that, you need to go on the news in the last 48 hours.
But that's solely. If I ask myself that question, are we the only planet around that has living things on it? The answer for me is a resounding no, especially when they proved that Mars used to have.
There is a mathematical equation for this. There is a mathematical equation. I'm not a mathematician, but there is a mathematical equation that basically says that 12% of planets, not everything in the sky is classed as a planet, but 12% of planets are life-sustaining. So, they actually, with planets, with astronomers, with planets, when they find a planet, they decide from the information that's obtained from that on what that planet is. So whether it's like see on Star Wars and things like that, and Star Trek, they go M-class planets, things like that. They do grade them on whether they are life-sustaining planets or not.
But what I'm sort of, the angle I'm coming at it, you still have, and I really don't want to offend people here of any sort of culture or anything like that, but you've got certain religions and cultures that deny the moon landing, and you've got people in this country as well who deny you've still got people who believe the Earth is flat.
However, if you actually go onto the Flat Earth Society, on their paperwork, I think it says we have people all around the globe. So
anyway,
I'm not kidding you. I think that is true.
What I'm getting at is you've got people who believe certain things, depends on your culture. But what I'm saying is, if you seriously think about it, ask yourself.
Not ask yourself. What I'll say is this: today we're in a problematic period of our time, and the government is saying you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. Right. However, the biggest advances in society, and maybe bizarre, is for every year of war that a country's in war, their science and technologies leap by 10 years.
Oh, did you hear that about the laser weapons?
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. By 10 years, and then you also have, it's an old saying, no offence intended, not too far, but no offence intended. They say, those who can do, those that know teach, and which is actually it is true in its own sense, because you're going back to Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin didn't have a process of working out; he had to work it out himself.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and a lot of scientists do this; they work it out themselves.
Yeah.
If you look at their educational qualifications, I'm sorry, educationalists. Your science boffins and everything like that, but you probably will agree that most of the really big things that have been invented or thought or explained are people who have not gone to your university.
Yeah, and it's people who don't follow the rules, basically. They sort out their own. So what I'm sort of getting at is try and think outside of your culture. Yeah. Try and think outside of your box.
Always be open to everything.
Ask yourself those questions, and just think.
Coffee or tea?
Well, but for me, if you think we're the only ones, the only living creatures, then, I mean, you've even got more than just us on Earth. It's, I can't get past that. Can you be that self-centered, in my opinion, to think that we're the only planet around?
To be quite honest, I mean, you're not going to get an argument from me, because I also believe that there is something up there that's
And
we can't no longer keep our heads buried in the sand.
And I mean, if you don't believe that as well, just go to
But what I will say is this:
out,
if you don't want to believe that, that's entirely up to you.
Of course it is.
I'm not going to convince you.
And we accept it as. To be fair, I do like debate, and we've said previously on one of the things that. By all means, put your comments below, and we'll have a chat.
One of the biggest differences is by the age is actually life experiences as well. I remember in 1969 when the moon landings took place, my dad was very fortunate, and he was a hard-working man, and he bought a television for us. And I remember as a child sat in there in a bungalow, and all the neighbours came round, and we watched the moon landing. Fake or not, I'm not going to say whether it is or not. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is that we watched it on a television, which was new technology, which you take for granted now, and we all sat there as half a street of people watching it. This moon landing. Now we take it. Oh, we're going to the moon. Yeah, all right then. It's like going out shops for a cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing.
They've not been back though, have they? Anyway, that's a different debate.
Yeah, different debate on that one. Why haven't we been back to the moon?
Anyway, yeah. Well, let us know what you think.
Hope we haven't bored you too much.
Yeah, and we hope we've not offended anyone. It's not our
trying to get
intention.
So many different subjects to try to get people to interact with us.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you do.
Subscribe.
Put in the comments. Subscribe. You know, let's get some comments.
And we'll see you on the next one. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Have a lovely day.
You too.
Okay,
bye.
Bye.